Namaskar. Dear students, in today's lecture, we will discuss about water, and in brief, we will learn about water sources, pollution and health hazards and its importance. The following points are highlighted: history, sources, uses, pollution, health hazards. Firstly, coming to the introduction. Water is the most mysterious and familiar substance in our lives. Water is called a universal solvent because it dissolves more substances than any other liquid, because wherever water goes, either through the ground or through our bodies, it takes along valuable chemicals, minerals and nutrients. It is colorless, odorless, most familiar and abundant liquid available on earth. Pure water has a neutral pH of 7, which is neither acidic nor basic. Chemically, water is a compound of hydrogen and oxygen having the formula H2O. It is chemically active, reacting with certain metals and metal oxides to form bases. It reacts with certain organic compounds to form a variety of products, for example, alcohols from alkenes. Since water is a polar compound, it is a good solvent. Although completely pure water is a poor conductor of electricity. Sources of water. Life is possible on earth due to the presence of water. Nearly 3/4 of the earth's surface is covered with water. Water is also found below the earth's surface and it is present in air in the form of water vapor. These are the major sources of water, that is, rainwater, oceans, rivers, lakes, streams, ponds and springs are natural sources of water. Dams, wells, tube wells, hand pumps, canals, etc. are man-made sources of water. Rainwater. Rainwater collects on the earth in the form of surface water and underground water. Underground water. Some portion of the rainwater seeps through the soil onto the rocks below. Sometimes, due to high pressure, this water comes out in the form of springs. It can be obtained by digging wells, etc. Surface water. Water present on the surface of the earth in the form of oceans, rivers, lakes, ponds and streams is called surface water. It is interconnected, that is, the water in rivers and lakes comes from rain and melting of snow on mountains. Need of water. Water is probably the most important resource on earth. We need water to grow and stay alive. In fact, we could only live for a few days without drinking water. We also need water to grow plants and care for animals, cook our food, bathe and brush our teeth, flush the toilet and wash our clothes. But did you know that most of the water on earth is ocean water? Ocean water is very salty. You can't drink it or use it for growing plants, cooking food, bathing or washing clothes. The fresh water comes from rain or snow that falls in rivers and lakes. It is also found stored in rocks beneath the ground. Your body is estimated to be about 60 to 70% water, and all the plants and animals' body contain water. Blood is mostly water, and our muscles, lungs and brain all contain a lot of water. Our body needs water to regulate body temperature and to provide the means for nutrients to travel to all your organs. Water also transports oxygen to your cells, removes waste and protects your joints and organs. Problems we are facing: inadequate access to safe drinking water by over 1.1 billion people, groundwater overdrafting leading to diminished agricultural yields, overuse and pollution of water resources harming biodiversity, regional conflicts over scarce water resources sometimes resulting in warfare. Ensuring availability of water for future generations is the most important question. Uses. Water was also an important source of power in the period before the Industrial Revolution. Beginning with the Industrial Revolution, however, Water increasingly becomes an important hidden factor in human history. Without water, there would be no vegetation on land, no oxygen for human beings, animals to breathe. Water is necessary to keep our bodies and the environment healthy and should be and protected as the precious resource. Earth's surface is covered by 71% water. Only less than 2.7% of global water is fresh water and only less than 0.7% is available for human use. It is essential for life, can survive only a few days without water. Reactant. Water being a good solvent allows many reactions to occur. Water is used in photosynthesis to make NADPH2 and ultimately sugar. These reactions release oxygen gas, which is vital to human life. Without water in photosynthesis, organisms would not be able to obtain energy, and life, as we know, it would be impossible. Lubricant. When bones meet a joint, they need a fluid between the bones to prevent scraping against each other. That fluid is called synovial fluid, which is mainly of water. Many internal organs have fluid around them to keep them protected. Examples: brain, cerebrospinal fluid; lungs, pleural fluid; eyes, mix of fluids. Important for cell life. Water is a carrier for distributing essential nutrients to cells, mainly minerals, vitamins and glucose. Chemical and metabolic activity. It removes waste products from the body, including toxins that the organ cells reject, and removes them through urines and fecus. Transport of nutrients. Water helps in the biochemical breakdown of food. At the same time, kidneys and liver use it to help flush out waste, as do your intestines. Waste through perspiration, urination and defecation. Water is the center of life and vital nutrient. Body temperature regulation. Water has a large heat capacity which helps limit changes in body temperature in a warm or a cold environment. The body begins to sweat and the evaporation of water from the skin surface very efficiently cools the body. Pollution of water and source. Most at risk from environmental pollution are the 1.3 billion people in the developing countries of Southeast Asia and Sub-Saharan Africa, almost 1/4 of the world's population. There is a link between poverty and pollution. Poverty determines the environmental risks individuals face. Where they live, their access to clean water and proper sanitation, and their exposure to various kinds of environmental pollutants, while limiting their access to adequate resources for dealing with those risks. Unable to afford clean fuels, the poor depend on dirty fuels for cooking and heating, filling their dwellings with smoke. Their dwellings are usually located near roadways, waste dumps or industrial areas, subjecting them to a daily barrage of air pollution, noise and the risk of toxic spills. Source of pollution. The main sources of pollutants are agricultural, industrial, municipal and transportation operations. Agricultural pollutants include insecticides, herbicides, pesticides, natural and chemical fertilizers, drainage from animal feedlots, salts from field irrigation. Pollution is defined as the presence of impurities or pollutant substances in sufficient concentration levels causing harmful effects on human beings, animals and plant life. The human activities, industry, agriculture, mining, deforestation, power generation cause water pollution. Population growth and unplanned urbanization also contribute to pollution of water. Factories and mines release large quantities of toxic chemicals, organic waste, heavy metals, heated effluents, inert waste and radioactive waste causing water pollution. Toxic chemicals or waste are not easily degradable by biological means. DDT and mercury fall under this category. The water contaminated by them is highly poisonous and if contacted or consumed by plants or animals may prove fatal. Other examples are pesticides and herbicides which wash off from the land during rainy season into the water sources. Organic waste refer to rotting organic material, refer to rotting organic matter which generate foul smell. Examples are waste from humans, tanneries and paper and pulp industries. These wastes, when discharged into water sources, decompose using large amounts of oxygen from water, rendering water useless. The pollution level is indicated by a parameter, that is BOD, biochemical oxygen demand. With oxygen depletion, some types of fish perish in these water bodies. Urban sewage is another example of organic waste generally released into rivers, lakes or tanks in most of the developing countries. The inert waste such as metals, oil films, silt settle to the bottom if not removed and affects plant life at the bottom of the water bodies. This is not a very serious pollution problem. The radioactive wastes are generally dumped into oceans. If proper disposal techniques are not followed, these wastes create serious pollution of oceans. This aspect is discussed later. It is estimated that many countries will have freshwater shortage by 2025. Environment pollution. Modern hazards resulting from rapid development without environmental safeguards. Urban air pollution, contaminated water and soil, noise and lack of proper sanitary disposal for increasing quantities of waste from household garbage to industrial and medical waste. The ultimate cause of pollution is human activity itself. Human activities mainly include industries for various human needs, both directly and indirectly, agriculture, food production and industrial needs, healthcare for health of human beings and animals, transport for mobility of human beings. The nature and concentration of a pollutant determine the severity of its detrimental effects on human health. Impurities released directly from the source of origin are known as primary pollutants, for example, carbon monoxide, sulfur dioxide and nitrogen oxide. When contaminants like HC, NO, O3 combine in the atmosphere, that is moisture and sunlight, to form new products like PAN, which is peroxyacetyl nitrite. Petrochemical smog, formaldehyde, which are known as secondary pollutants. List of industries causing different types of pollution. First column has the type of industries and the second has the type of pollution. First is manufacturing of gases, which causes air pollution, IT based industries, air pollution, cement, steel and other mine based industries which cause air pollution and solid waste, noise pollution, textile industries and other ancillaries, water pollution, air pollution and noise pollution, transport vehicle manufacturing generates solid waste, noise pollution, air pollution, petroleum based industries, water pollution and air pollution, food industry, water pollution, air pollution, food pollution, paper industry, water pollution, air pollution, solid waste and sound pollution, electrical appliances and electric goods industries, solid waste and air pollution, aircraft industry, solid waste, water pollution and air pollution. Now coming to the major disease causing agents. Bacteria, viruses, protozoa and parasitic worms that enter water from domestic sewage and animal waste. In developing countries, they are the major cause of sickness and death, prematurely killing an average of 13,700 people every day. Oxygen demanding waste. Organic waste which can be decomposed by oxygen consuming bacteria. Large populations of bacteria supported by these wastes can deplete water of dissolved oxygen gas. Without enough oxygen, fish and other oxygen-consuming forms of aquatic life die. Water-soluble inorganic chemicals, acids, salts and compounds of toxic metals such as lead and mercury. Such dissolved solids can make water unfit to drink, harm fish and other aquatic life, decrease crop yields and accelerate corrosion of equipment that uses of water. Inorganic plant nutrients. Water-soluble nitrate and phosphate compounds that can cause excessive growth of algae and other aquatic plants which then die and decay, depleting water of dissolved oxygen and killing fish. Organic chemicals. Oil, gasoline, plastics, pesticides, cleaning solvents, detergents and many other water-soluble and insoluble chemicals that threaten human health and harm fish and other aquatic life. Sediment or suspended matter. Suspended particulate matter clouds the water, reduces the ability of some organisms to find food, reduces photosynthesis by aquatic plants, disrupts aquatic food webs and carries pesticides, bacteria and other harmful substances. Bottom sediments destroy feeding and spawning grounds of fish and clogs and fills lakes, artificial reservoirs, stream channels and harbors. Radioactive substances. Radioisotopes that are water soluble or capable of being biologically amplified to higher concentrations as they pass through food chains and webs. Ionizing radiation from such isotopes can cause birth defects, cancer and genetic damage. Heat. Large quantity of water is heated when it is used in the cooling towers of thermal power plants. When this hot water is discharged into the nearby water bodies, it causes an increase in its temperature. This increase in water temperature lowers dissolved oxygen content and makes aquatic organisms more vulnerable to disease, parasites and toxic chemicals. Health hazards of water pollution. Effects of pollution. Different types of water uses require different levels and the highest level of purity being required for drinking water. Pollutants bring many physical and chemical changes in water. Industrial waste and suspended particles make water turbid. Dyes, chromium and iron compounds change the color of water. Oils, detergents, hydrocarbons, chlorine, etc. are important contaminants. As it is a vital resource essential for life, contamination of water has effects on the health and environment of living organisms. Phosphorus and nitrates from fertilizers and detergents promote the growth of oxygen-consuming algae which reduce the DO, that is dissolved oxygen level of water, killing fish and other aquatic organisms. Industrial effluents result in the addition of poisonous chemicals such as arsenic, mercury, cadmium, lead, etc., which kill aquatic organisms and may reach human body through contaminated aquatic foods. Domestic, commercial and industrial effluents, for example paper mills, slaughterhouses, contaminate the water with organic pollutants. Microorganisms which decompose the organic matter and consume oxygen and reduce the dissolved oxygen level of the aquatic system, thereby killing the aquatic organisms. Waterborne infectious enteric diseases like typhoid, bacillary dysentery, cholera and amoebic dysentery are the predominant health hazards arising from contaminated drinking water. Fluoride containing pollutants cause fluorosis, that is, neuromuscular, respiratory, gastrointestinal and dental problems. Oil pollutants have been known to be responsible for the death of many water birds and fishes. Radioactive pollutants near industrial area, water sources enters human through food and water and get accumulated in the blood, thyroid gland, liver, bones as well as in the muscles. Next, coming to waterborne diseases. Many backward countries, according to the WHO report, that water-related diseases cause 3.4 million deaths each year. Contaminated water can cause many types of diarrheal diseases, including cholera and other serious illnesses such as guinea worm disease, typhoid and dysentery. Microorganisms causing diseases that characteristically are waterborne prominently include protozoa and bacteria, many of which are intestinal parasites. Amoebiasis, caused by Entamoeba histolytica parasite, causes diarrhea, stomach pain and stomach cramping. Fecal matter of an infected person, usually ingested from a pool or an infected water supply. Cholera, caused by Vibrio cholerae bacteria, watery diarrhea, vomiting and leg cramps. It is caused due to consumption of contaminated drinking water from rivers and coastal waters. E. coli 0157 H7, Escherichia coli bacteria, causes diarrhea, may be bloody, abdominal pain, nausea, vomiting, fever, HUS. Undercooked ground beef, imported cheeses, unpasteurized milk or juice, cider, alfalfa and sprouts. Hepatitis A, caused by hepatitis A virus, induces fever, fatigue, stomach pain, nausea, dark urine and jaundice. It is caused due to the consumption of ready-to-eat foods, fruit and juice, milk products, shellfish, salads, vegetables, sandwiches and water. Salmonellosis, caused by Salmonella bacteria, abdominal pain, headache, fever, nausea, diarrhea, chills and cramps, caused due to the consumption of poultry, eggs, meat, meat products, milk, smoked fish, protein foods and juice. Vibrio infection, caused by Vibrio parahemolyticus and Vibrio vulnificus bacteria, nausea, vomiting, headache. A quarter of patients experience dysentery-like symptoms. It is caused by the consumption of raw shellfish and oysters. Viral gastroenteritis, caused by calicivirus, which is a virus, causes diarrhea, vomiting, nausea, cramps, headache, muscle aches, tiredness and slight fever. Caused due to the consumption of water, ready-to-eat foods such as salad, sandwiches and bread, and also by shellfish. Enterobiasis, caused by Enterobius vermicularis. Drinking water contaminated with eggs is the source of contamination. Perianal itch, nervous irritability and hyperactivity and insomnia. Botulism, caused by Clostridium botulinum. Bacteria can enter an open wound from contaminated water sources, can enter the gastrointestinal tract through consumption of contaminated drinking water or more commonly by food. Characterized by dry mouth, blood and double vision, difficulty in swallowing, muscle weakness, difficulty breathing, slurred speech, vomiting and sometimes diarrhea. Death is usually caused by respiratory failure. Dysentery. It is caused by a number of species in the genera Shigella and Salmonella, with the most common being Shigella dysenteriae. The source is water contaminated with the bacterium. Frequent passage of fecus with blood and or mucus and in some cases vomiting of blood. Leptospirosis, caused by bacterium of genus Leptospira. Water contaminated by the animal urine carrying the bacteria. Begins with flu-like symptoms and then resolves. The second phase then occurs involving meningitis, liver damage which causes jaundice and renal failure. Titus externa, which is also known as swimmer's ear, caused by a number of bacterial and fungal species. It is caused due to swimming in water contaminated by the responsible pathogens. Ear canal swells, causing pain and tenderness to the touch. Campylobacteriosis, which is most commonly caused by Campylobacter jejuni. The source is drinking water which is contaminated with fecus, characterized by dysentery-like symptoms along with a high fever, which usually lasts up to 2 to 10 days. Coming to the conclusion, global water demand is largely influenced by population growth, urbanization, food and energy security policies, and macroeconomic processes such as trade globalization, changing diets and increasing consumption. By 2050, global water demand is projected to increase by 55%, mainly due to growing demands from manufacturing, thermal electricity generation and domestic use. Water is the only substance in the world to be found naturally in all 3 states, that is solid in the ice state, liquid as water and gas as water vapor. Water freezes at 0 degrees Celsius and boils at 100 degrees Celsius. 66% of the human body is water. 75% of the human brain is water. Water regulates the Earth's temperature. It also regulates the temperature of the human body, carries nutrients and oxygen to cells, cushions joints, protects organs and tissues, and removes waste. 1 in 5 children in the developing world do not live to see their 5th birthday. Lack of adequate water, sanitation, and hygiene causes 7% of death and disease globally. Very large amounts of water go down the drain without being used. To conserve water, try some of these ideas. Turn the water off while you are brushing your teeth or washing your face. Take shorter showers and don't fill the tub all the way when you take a bath. Do not leave the garden hose on all night when watering plants. Make sure the dishwasher and washing machine are full each time your family does a load. Thank you.